and welcome to this session. Thank you, Dr. Hayes, for inviting me into your class, and thank you, students, for coming to this session. My name is Marianne Irwin. I am in the Instruction and Liaison Services Department here at the library in St. Louis, Missouri. My subject area specialties are business and management, and I'm also the distance learning librarian. So everyone at Webster wears many hats, as you probably know. So as Dr. Hayes said, today we are going to talk about how the library can help you write a paper on a best practice in organizational development, or how can you find articles on a particular topic is generally what we're going to talk about. So this hopefully will be a short presentation, plus a chance to ask questions. So if you do have questions, do let me know. Some of the other things we're going to talk about is the difference between scholarly peer-reviewed journal articles and trade and magazine articles. We'll talk about forming your research question, how to access library databases and select a database that has the type of information that you need. And we'll talk about getting help from the library and APA citation and writing help. So first up, just a general notes about types of periodicals. So there are basically three types of periodicals that the library talks about. The most often used or requested by faculty members are journals, sometimes called scholarly, academic, or peer-reviewed journals. So those are publications that are periodically published, so generally more than once a year, but they often will be the depositories of experimental or theoretical research. So when you're writing university level paper, often your professors will ask you to use, if not all journals, at least a preponderance of journal articles, because that's where the theory is reported, and that's what you need to learn about, because that's what underlies all practice. Trade publications, on the other hand, are generally written by people who are practicing in the field. So they're not generally reporting research, they're generally reporting how they are applying different concepts within their field. So trade publications are often published within a particular management function, like human resources, or they might be published for a particular industry. Then on the other side, on the other end of the spectrum, are the popular periodicals, things like magazines like Time, business magazines like Forbes or Bloomberg Business Week, and newspapers like the Wall Street Journal, which is, as you know, a business newspaper. And by the way, you'll notice with my examples here, I have the Career Development Quarterly is a journal, but it doesn't have journal in the title, so they won't always, and even if they do, like the Wall Street Journal, doesn't really make them a journal. So we'll talk about how you can find that type of, the type of level of periodical that you need and how to do that efficiently. Next, let's talk about a research question. So when you're selecting a topic for a paper, if there's not one assigned, then you want to make sure that you're looking at something that interests you. And it may be a problem at work that you want to research to see what other people have written about that particular topic. So while you have your research question and you know it's dear to you, try to put it into more academic speak, because that's going to help you to start thinking about how to search it in a database. So the research question we're going to use today is, how do management styles impact organizational change initiatives in work groups or work teams? So for instance, perhaps you work in an organization and you notice that you have some teams that the leadership styles don't seem to be advancing the initiatives for the organization. So that's how you start it from your viewpoint and then make it into a researchable research question. The next thing you want to do is to pick out your concepts. So we have so in this question, I would say our concepts, and usually you're going to start with 2 or 3, are management styles and organizational change. Those are going to be our highest level of concepts that we want to search. And then we also want to go more specifically and apply those to work groups or work teams. So let's go ahead and go live, and I am going to share my desktop with you. And it's just going to take me a minute to get. All right. So this is the library homepage. It's at library.webster.edu. And from here, there are various ways to access our databases and our services. So we're going to talk about some of those as we go along here. On the main menu, Are You Looking For?, you'll see a link to articles/databases. And that link will take you to mediated lists of our databases. So we'll look at that in just a second. But on the way by, if you know the database name that you want, if you know the database that you want, you can use that pull-down menu and expand that menu, and here's an alphabetical list of our 160-plus databases. So as you get used to particular databases and you kind of learn, you know that you want to use it, then you can choose it from there. Under Business and Technology, then you want to choose the broadest, the category into which your class falls. So this is an HRDV class. So we have databases particularly for management and human resources. So we're going to click on that link, and that opens a page, and here we are listing databases by particular format. So we have article databases, we have some specialized article databases, we have databases that will give you company directory listings, we have ebooks, databases, and we have industry data. So today we're going to focus on the articles because that's where you're going to find the scholarly peer-reviewed publications and articles within those. We also have some other databases that support particular programs. So there are databases that cover human resources more specifically, but when we're talking about articles, then you're going to want to use a bigger article database. Our largest one is Business Source Complete. It covers over 25,000 periodicals, journals, trade publications, magazines, and newspapers. But it's our largest business database. We have another one called ABI Inform, and it's from ProQuest. So we'll look at that in a minute. Notice from this page, however, that you have my contact information on the gray bar on the right. So as a subject librarian, we hope to connect you with the subject librarian in any of our areas here in the library and of our disciplines here in the library when you need help. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the home page, and I'm going to point out at the bottom of the menu we have 4 columns, and the second one from the left is Research Help. And here, just notice on the way by, this Ask a Librarian, we're going to talk more about that later, and the citation guides, and we'll talk more about that as well. But if you just go to the library homepage, you can get access to help from a librarian and with citation. Another way to access databases is our research guides. So when you click on Research Guides, it's going to take you to a page, much like our database page, where they're arranged by broad discipline and then often by programs here at Webster. So we're going to click on, Human Resources Development. So from this page, notice that we have across the top, now we have tabs that lead you to particular formats of information like articles or books and ebooks, and also to services like help with citing and writing, and contact information on the right-hand menu with a link to Ask a Librarian, and here's my contact information again. So let's take a quick look at articles. So in addition to mediated lists of databases, what our research guides allow us to do is to provide upfront some more training information or just some information to help you to understand the way information is published. So we see that. So we have that same graphic there that talks about the difference between journals, trade publications, magazines, and newspapers that we saw on the PowerPoint before. But scrolling down, you'll see that we have Business Source Complete listed as the database, the primary database for finding articles in business and management. So what this allows us also to do is I have a little tip sheet here. So finding HR development articles in Business Source Complete. So that's just a 2-page tip sheet. If you want a refresher, that might help you to kind of remember how we search for articles and some of the limits and things that we can apply. We also have here is Business Source Complete has its own list of subject headings. So we've popped some of those out, some of the major ones that address human resources development. But let me just point out that human resources management is not the subject heading that Business Source Complete uses. Instead, they use personnel management. So it's an archaic term, but unfortunately that's still what they use. So you want to keep that in mind. But so those are just some examples of some of the jargon that might be helpful for you and might be useful when you start searching Business Source Complete. So I'm going to click on Business Source Complete, and it's going to ask you to authenticate or log into the databases. So you do that with your last name and your Webster University ID number. So if you don't know your Webster ID number, notice that there is a link here that says need help finding your Webster 7-digit ID number, which will help you to find that within your Connections or World Classroom, within your Connections account, sorry. All right, so once we've logged into the database, it's going to pop up and it's going to show us 3 search boxes, and it's going to, with an and between them. So what we do now is we take our major concepts that we want to search for and we just enter them into the search box. So I'm going to type in organizational change. Okay, and notice that it's suggesting some words or phrases, and those are not suggested by the database. Those are just things that other people have typed in. So much like Google, they will suggest, if you have that turned on, they will suggest what other people have found useful. So we have organizational change, and then I'm going to type in management style. Okay. And notice that it's typing that I'm going to go ahead and accept management styles. Now the database will automatically search for the singular and the plural. If it's a simple, just add an S. But it's not a bad idea to get used to adding what's called the truncation symbol. And in Business Source Complete and ABI Inform, it is the asterisk, the Shift 8 character. Okay. So what that will do is it will search for any ending. So it makes more sense, actually, if we looked at it this way. So if we were just looking for management or managers, we could just type in M-A-N-A-G-E and an asterisk, and it would automatically search for any variant endings of management, of manage. Okay, so that may make it a little more evident about why we'd want to do that. So if it's not, particularly if it's a word that doesn't have, that you have to drop the E and add IES, or the Y and add IES, if it's not a simple plural, you might want to get into the habit of using that for plurals as well. Okay. All right. So now, when we click on search, we get 437 items that have those two concepts within them, or those two phrases is what I've typed in. Notice that this first one is in a language other than English, and that can happen. So the results are in relevance order, and Business Source Complete has a fairly decent relevance algorithm. So we leave it set to relevance order. It tends to put journal articles at the top of the list, and if it finds the words or phrases that we ask it to look for in the article title or in the subjects, it moves those up on the list as well. You can notice on the left-hand menu under Refine Results that it's showing our publication dates of these 437 articles. The first one is in 1933, and the last one is and the most recent is in 2017, which is great for the 2017. The 1933, you probably don't want articles that old. But I would suggest that while you're looking at your search, that you don't turn off, you wait a little bit to move up that date slider, because we're going to look at what we find and we're going to use that to make our searches better. So we want to go ahead and look at the full range of articles, at least while we have quite a few of them. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and add our last concept. Because we have 437 items, we're going to look at work groups, and I could do this, work group, or, and notice that I'm actually typing out the or there. When I do that, it's saying, I'm telling the database to look for either of those phrases along with and management style and organizational change. So when I type them together on the same line, it actually says, okay, do that part of the search first. So it'll go ahead and apply that or and look for either of those, and then go back and grab my other two terms. So now when I click on search, you could see our Boolean phrase over here, and just barely you can see, if I cursor over it, you can see that it's added parentheses around those or terms. And that, of course, for middle school math means do that part of the equation first. So to make it work properly, that's what you need to do. But notice now that we're down to 19 articles. So we've taken out a lot of articles here. So what we might want to do next then is to look at the articles that we did find. And anytime that you have that you do a search, do pause and just take a look at the articles that you find. So we can see this is a periodical. The number 1 is a periodical. And we see in the subject terms, we see management styles. We see organizational change management as a subject. So organizational change and or change management. We see in this next one, management styles and organizational change as a subject heading. And then if we keep on popping down here, you'll see that what they use as a subject term is not work teams, but teams in the workplace. Okay. We can also see group relations training. So there's that work group, perhaps. So we're not going to use all of these, but what is helpful is to start thinking about the way the database, what terms and phrases they use for the words that we're looking for. So over here on the refined results list on the left again, we'll see our source types. So now of these 19, 12 of them are academic journals and 7 are magazines. So you might want to take a look, by the way, while you're going to use most of your articles are going to be from academic, scholarly, or peer-reviewed journals, you might want to look at some of your magazines or trade publications. We don't have any in this search, but you might want to click on that and take a look at just those magazines. And what those can be helpful for is to help you to see how a particular topic is being written about and how research is being applied and how those topics are being used. And sometimes that can help you to create for your particular paper some scenarios that show why a particular topic is important to other people besides just yourself, but sometimes that can be helpful. Okay, so we're going to turn that off though just by clicking on the X in the magazines, because most of those magazines are pretty old. Below the source types, we also see the subject thesaurus terms. So of these 19 articles, these are the subjects that are most often applied across these articles. So there are 13 that have the subject organizational change. There are 9 that have leadership, 5 that have organizational structure, etc. So what you might do is if you get a really large search, you might want to look at your subject terms and click on one of these to focus, to kind of see, particularly if you're just starting to explore your topic. So you might want to click there to kind of narrow and say, okay, you know, is this something that I want to look at in more depth? But right now, we're not going to turn those on at all. We're not going to turn those on. But if you wanted to see all of them, click on Show More, and it'll pop up and it'll show you all of them, or the top ones at least. Okay. So that can help you to start thinking about how the database, what words and phrases that they're using. So we know that they, instead of work groups, they use work teams. So what we're going to do then is we are going to come back and we're going to redo our search, and we're going to try to make it a little bit bigger. So we're going to say organizational change or change management. All right. And so when we add that or, now we've got more. So if you think about more with or, so now we've got 27 items. Okay. And we can leave work group or work team, but what we might want to do would be to take that off because it's actually teams in the workplace. We'll just put team asterisk and click on search. And now we have 78 because we're not making it look for the term work team. It's just looking for team, all right? So now we've kind of expanded our search upward. So now we've got 78, and now we're at a point we should kind of look through these and decide, is this search at least giving us some articles? Not all of them will be on point, but some articles that would be helpful to us. So another thing that we might want to do is pop back and now go ahead and pull that date slider up, and I'm going to go up to 2007. You might ask your professor if he or she has has a date range in mind that they would like you to use. Sometimes they do, but sometimes 10 years is a good litmus test. And so notice that it's now taken us down. What we've done is added another and it must be published after 2007. And now we're down to 37 items. We can also, above the date slider, have the scholarly peer-reviewed journal limit. It's a little checkbox above the date slider. So we notice from our source types that we have 22 of these 37 are from academic journals. So we can click that, but if we add something to the search, it will go ahead and turn that off. But if we add the checkbox above the date slider, it will now hold that. So the next search, if we do searches, it's going to hold both our limit to scholarly peer-reviewed journals and our publication date until we turn it off. Okay, so we've got 22 articles, and as I said, some of them will not be on point. This first one, a healthcare case study of learner style and change management. So that it's actually not looking it's not actually looking for a phrase. It's looking for those words within two or three words of each other. So sometimes you'll get like a false drop. So that's about learner style, not about management styles. The second one does indeed talk about management styles, change management, and teams. So it has all three of our search words in that particular record. So what we can do is click on the title, and that will show us the record for that particular article. And this is actually what it's searching, only the words in the record, all right? So this particular one has the PDF full text, so you can click on that, open the PDF full text. You will want to go ahead and save that if you want to have access to it after this session. So you want to save that. But what you'll see here is the title of the article. When does voice lead to exit? It depends on leadership. You'll see the authors. You'll see the source, and that will tell you the journal or the periodical in which it's published, in this case, Academy of Management Journal. And you'll see the other information needed to find that, including the date of publication in your volume and issue number and pages. You'll also see some other information that tells you about this article. It's 24 pages. It has 1 diagram, 4 charts, and 3 graphs, and it's showing you those images over on the side here. So you can quickly, if you wanted to go and see what kind of images they had. It shows you the subject terms and an abstract or a summary about the article, which will often be research. And so they'll tell you who they studied and how in that abstract. Okay. Along the menu on the right, there's a Tools menu. So you have some options there for organizing your research. One of the things you might want to do is, if you do like this article and you've read the abstract and you really like it, is you might want to add it to a folder. And then you can come back and we'll look at how you're going to deal with those things in a folder in a minute. Another thing that's really helpful is you can use the Cite tool. So once you click on that, it will create the citation in the major citation styles. So here is the one that's used most often at Webster management programs, business and management programs, is the APA. But you should always ask your professor what citation style he or she prefers that you use. And there is a disclaimer, and most of our databases have this Cite tool, but it always comes with a disclaimer. And it says that you have to know how to create, how the citation should look, because the database will do its best. And one of the things that the databases have trouble with is capitalization. So you notice that the article title is in caps in the record. So the database has no way to fix that. So sometimes you'll see that that happens, that it'll go and it will pop that in there in caps. So you do have to know how a citation should look, and I'll show you at the end how to go in and find information on how a proper citation should look. But in general, the databases do a fairly good job of getting the citation elements at least in the right order. But there are problems with this one particular, with this citation. So the author should go first, but we should not be seeing the author's full names. It should be their initials. So that's an issue. The article title should not be in quotation marks. It should be in sentence case, meaning that the first word of the title and the subtitle and any proper nouns are the only things that should be capitalized. The title of the journal is almost correct, except that and it is title case, meaning all significant words should be capitalized, but that of should not, because that's not a significant word. The 56, the volume number, should be in italics, and then it should be colon number 2, and then period, and then the page numbers. Also, this is it's really, oh, I'm looking at Chicago Turabian. No wonder. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. So I'm sorry about that. So actually, it did, except for the capitalization. It has done the author's names right. So in a different citation style, it should look differently. And then after that, actually, this is correct. So anyway, suffices to say it's a nice start, and you can copy those out and paste them into a Word document, but you will have to go back and clean them up. So I'm going to close that, and I'm going to pop back to my result list, and I'm going to point out just a couple more things. Notice that this first article does not have the full text. Okay, we can see that the second one and this third one has both the HTML and the PDF full text, and as well as the fourth one has the PDF full text, but that first one doesn't. We weren't very interested in that article anyway, but if we scroll down, we can see this article on number 5, what motivates the significant strategic change champions. So we could pop in and read that abstract by clicking on the title. And let's say if we really wanted this particular one, because it was on point. We have a piece of software called Check Article Linker. So when you use that, it goes out into our other databases, and if another database has the full text, it will open it, often with one click, into a window. And so here is the PDF full text, or a link. Here's the full text, but here's a link to the PDF full text. So just in one click, even though the full text is not available in the database that you're searching, it's easily accessible somewhere else. All right, so use that to expand your search. And notice, if we go back up, that above, you might have noticed, under our date slider in our scholarly peer-reviewed journals, there's a little limit to full text. I'm going to suggest that you not use that, unless you need an article, you just need an article for class, and class starts in, 15 minutes or half an hour. Then if you've got a lot, you might want to go ahead and click on full text. But otherwise, if you're looking for the best articles, just because they are or are not full text in a particular database says nothing about the quality. That's purely an economic decision made by the publisher of the journal and Business Source Complete, the vendor. So if you're looking for the best articles, use those functions like Article Linker to help you use the database to help you find the articles, but use Article Linker to help you to get the full text. Okay, now, and let me show you one that, I'll show you number, got a lot of full text. Let me show you one that we don't have. So this particular article, when I click on it, and actually I didn't need to do that, number 7 here has Article Linker, but this is one that we don't have the full text in another database. But notice that it pops up with a requested here. So if you click on that requested here, it's going to prompt you the first time to set up an interlibrary loan account with us, and then when you do that, that will create an electronic request that will pop over, be sent to our interlibrary loan department, and they will get that article for you and upload it into your interlibrary loan account. They will email you at whatever email address you put in your account when you set up your interlibrary loan account. They'll email you at that email and let you know that your article is available. Now, we ask that you give us 3 to 5 business days for that, but I will tell you that often it comes more quickly than that because the entire process pretty much is automated, and we will get electronic PDF copies from the libraries that loan it to us so that we're not waiting for the things to arrive in the mail. So we'll just upload it into your account and email you and let you know that it's waiting for you in your interlibrary loan account. Now, actually, the system will dynamically produce that email once we put the article there. So if you're waiting for an interlibrary loan, make sure you keep an eye on your junk mail, because sometimes articles that are emails that are dynamically produced will go there. But keep an eye on that. But in that way, you can get the best articles, not just those that happen to be full text. All right, we're going to pop back over here to our list of articles. And as we've been going by, you might have noticed that we've been seeing the word leadership a lot. And so you might be thinking, okay, well, I only have 22 items, and I'd like a little bit more. So even now, what you might do is you might want to go back and expand your search a little bit. So if you think that leadership and management are synonymous or vaguely synonymous, you might want to go and add that. So just because you hit up on a list of
Marianne?
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Dr. Hayes.
Yes.
If you could, because I know that we're almost at the hour, could you make sure that we go over the request the librarian appointment and also the APA help, if you would, please?
Yep, we're almost to that point. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so we could go back and we could add leadership to our search by saying or leader, and we could just say leader asterisk, and here's a better example of using that truncation symbol, and that would look for leader, leaders, leadership. And now you'll notice that our search goes way up to 405. Okay, so keep those things in mind, and I'm going to point out one more thing while we're here, and that is getting help from, I'm sorry, got to do two more things. So remember we put those things in a folder. So if we add, I'm just going to add a few more so it looks good. When you click on folder view, you have all of your things, all the things that you've selected. And so now you have the option of emailing those citations to yourself. So just the ones that you've picked out. You could print them, and that's just the records is actually what you're emailing or printing. You want to deal with the PDF by itself. But there's some danger here. When you add things to a folder, Business Source Complete doesn't actually know who you are, so that folder is only available for this search session. So if you walk away and the search times out or you close your browser, you will not have those things in the folder anymore. But what you can do is create yet another account. It's called an My EBSCO account. So up here on the blue menu, sign in, create your EBSCO host account, and then you can save searches and folders of items, and you can name them, and you can have lots of different folders and searches. So you can use the EBSCO host cloud to save those things for you. Okay. All right. Also, notice along the edge here, on the right-hand edge, there's a chat window, and that is staffed 24/7. So if you have a question about your search, you can go ahead and search or ask one of our librarians for help. I will suggest or remind you that pop out that chat window, because if you don't, once they tell you to do a particular search and you change this, you change the search, you will lose that chat window. Okay. Another thing before we leave here is search history. Under the search boxes, if you click search history, here's a list of all the searches that you've done. So you don't have to go back and recreate them if you say, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. You can go back to a previous search very easily. So click it again and it'll close it. All right. Now, if there are no other questions, I am going to go ahead and finish up. So let me know if there are questions, but I am going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen here, and I'm going to pop back over to I had this PowerPoint just in case we couldn't get online, but here we are. And I'm going back to the research guide. And remember we saw the Ask a Librarian link on the library homepage at library.webster.edu as well. But here on the research guides, remember we saw that link to help. So if you click there, or from the homepage, on Ask a Librarian, that's what you're going to use if you have a quick question. So if you've just forgotten something, if you didn't quite understand something that I said today, or it's something I didn't cover. So if you just want to talk with a librarian quickly, and it's in the evening, for instance, so we have days and evenings and weekends that Ask a Librarian our research desk is staffed days days, evenings, and weekends, and I'm not always here. So there are many contact points for our Ask a Librarian service. Or if you're doing your research and it's just not working out for you, we will ask you to give it a try. Do reach out to me, and you're going to want to schedule a phone appointment, or probably a phone appointment, or email me your detailed topic and specific questions, and I'll be happy to work with you. And if I can't answer it by email, I'll certainly suggest that we set up a phone appointment to go to talk about your research. But our research services desk, our Ask a Librarian desk, is staffed almost 100 hours a week during the regular semester and similarly during the summer. But I'm only here 40 hours a week, and I'm not always in my office and available to take phone calls. So let's schedule an appointment. If you need more in-depth help, that'll be a good way to do it. If you click on Ask a Librarian, this is what you're going to see. You're going to get their phone, both local and toll-free. You can email them a question. Be sure to make it detailed. Or you can chat with them as well from that link. You don't have to be in a database. And finally, from the research guide and from the citation guides, if you click on the tab for citing and writing, you will have the option of looking at help with the different citation styles. So here is a research guide that's all about APA. So remember, you can use that database-produced APA citation, but there's danger there. You really do have to clean it up. But this APA research guide has in the upper left-hand corner, APA documentation from Webster Writing Center. And if you click there, you will see a web page that shows you the way that a proper citation for journal articles, books, ebooks, etc. So the major types of resources that you would use in a paper, in an academic paper, they will show you how those should be formatted. And they'll also show you how to do in-text citations and things like that. You may also schedule an appointment with the Webster Writing Center. So if you've been a while since you've written a paper and you want someone to give you some ideas, you can actually submit that online. You can schedule an appointment or you can submit it online, and they will look at your paper, and they won't proof it for you, but they will suggest if you're making you're making the same citation mistakes, they will tell you which ones are, how you need to work on fixing those, and they will give you some help if they think that your paper could be stronger. They'll help you with that as well. So that's all I have. We have just a few more minutes. So if you've got any questions about anything that I've covered, I'd be happy to talk about that.
Okay, I've opened up the microphone. Does anyone have any questions? Go ahead, Maya.
Hi, Mary. My name is Maya. My question is, how long, after you've requested the librarian, how long is she with you?
I'm sorry, after you've requested?
You set up an appointment with her, whether it be by phone or, I guess that's the only way. How long is that duration that you have with her if you're working on that paper? Is there a block time?
How long is the appointment?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so it really depends on what it is, how much time. I would say allow at least half an hour. If you're making an appointment with me, because I'm assuming what you've tried already is that you've tried it and you're getting a little bit stuck. So we need to go deeper. So I would say allow 20 minutes to half an hour at least. If you're going to call the research services desk or Ask a Librarian desk, they'll spend as much time as they can with you, and but do be aware that they're staffing a desk and they're answering the phone, answering emails, answering people walking up to the desk. So that's why we suggest that you might start with them. And we have a little magic. We say, if you've struggled with your research for more than 20 minutes and it's just not working for you, before you get frustrated, if you're having fun, keep on having fun. But before you get frustrated, please reach out to the Ask a Librarian desk, and they'll let you know if they think you need to talk to me as well. But please let us know. Any other questions?
Any questions? So everyone's familiar with using the databases now. They know where to get help if you need to make an appointment. You also have links for the APA and for the Writing Center, so there's lots of people out there who are very helpful, just as Mary Ann is, to ensure your student success.
And if you have quick questions about citation, the librarians at our Ask a Librarian desk, they'll help. They'll be more than happy to help you with putting those together. You'll notice I forgot to say about APA citation. There is a citation guide called the Publication Manual of the American Psychological Association. So that's it's the whole manual that tells you in depth about citation and how to write and format a paper in APA. We have that right there at the desk because we do answer a lot of those questions. So we'd be happy to help you with that as well.
But there's no electronic copy for the students to download?
There is not, no.
Okay. Right, so it saves them $20 right there.
It would, yes. Now you could request a copy. We do have copies in our circulating collection, meaning that you could go in and request a copy to be sent to you, to be mailed to you. We will do that free of charge, but you'll have to wait for it to, actually it'll be delivered via UPS. So we would send you a copy, but those are often checked out, so sometimes it's hard to get a copy. So it's, yeah.
All right. Okay, Mary Ann, thank you so much. You've been so helpful to us during the last couple of days. To express my personal thanks and gratitude for you taking the weekend to come in and talk to the students both on Saturday and Sunday, and we look forward to working with you, and hopefully the students have now not only a better appreciation of the services that you have, but now will contact you and make use of those services. So thanks, Mary Ann. I appreciate your help.
Oh, you are more than welcome. And just remember that remember I said we have 160 databases, and we looked at one of them. So there's a lot more content out there, but this was really to help you, hopefully, with your paper. And if you need some information, if you ever need information for even like a case study, if you need some theory or some research to back that up. So there's no way that we can go over our 160 databases, but we hope to give you tools that you can start thinking about at least getting an appreciation of what we have, what we offer in the library. So, and part of what we offer outside the library and 24/7 via chat is help. So please do let us know if we can help you. So good luck.
All right, and sometime next week you'll be able to send us the links that we can share with our students and they can review the recording.
Yep, hopefully those will be ready for you on Tuesday.
Okay, thank you. Let's give her a hand. She's been very nice to us today. So thank you, Mary Ann.
You're welcome. Bye now.
Thank you.